Yakuza definitely feels like an if you know, you know franchise now. No longer are the games trapped on different Sony consoles. With the Kiwami remakes bringing refinement and polished older games in the series, those who enjoyed recent titles like Yakuza 0 or Like a Dragon can easily go back to their roots. Whereas with some sequels you can pretty easily jump right in without the context of earlier games, I wouldn't recommend doing so with Yakuza Kiwami 2. But fortunately, we're getting both Kiwami 1 and 2 on the same day as dedicated Switch 2 versions. This review focuses on Kiwami 2, given that there is already a Switch 1 version of the first Kiwami game. But comparing the two games on Switch 2 shows that the performance is actually better with Kiwami 1. Anyone with knowledge of the Yakuza series can appreciate their dense, soap opera-ish storytelling, combined with over-the-top character interactions and humor. The Kiwami line offers a welcome opportunity to check out early Yakuza games in a contemporary package. I had already finished the PlayStation 4 versions before coming back to them on Switch 2 now. Based on my memory, the latter feel comparable, even when playing portably, so if you're looking to revisit or visit for the first time the settings of Kamurocho and Sotenburi added in Yakuza 2, then the Switch 2 is a nice way to do so, especially considering that we're getting Yakuza Kiwami 3 early in 2026. That said, Yakuza Kiwami 1 outperforms Kiwami 2 when playing on Nintendo's latest console. While both games display at 1080p resolution in docked mode, it's unfortunate to see Kiwami 1 running at 60 FPS when Kiwami 2 only hits 30 FPS and not even a completely stable frame rate at that. It's possible that because Kiwami 1 had already been released on Switch, that the transition for that game to Switch 2 was easier and allowed for a better performance. But it's disappointing to have them side by side and see the earlier game running much smoother. A bit of digging reminded me that this was also an issue with the PlayStation 4 releases of Kiwami 1 and 2, running at 60 and 30 FPS respectively. But with PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series versions of Kiwami 2 coming in December, I am holding out some hope that the launch on those two platforms could see a patch come to the Switch 2 version, contingent on the Sony and Microsoft releases also running at 60 FPS of course. In terms of gameplay, Yakuza Kiwami 2 contains a lot of fun and familiar minigames, like batting cages, mahjong, and karaoke, in addition to more fleshed out ones like Clan Creator, a top-down strategy game, and Cabaret Club Grand Prix, a management sim. I don't typically get sucked into any one of these too deeply, but they provide a pleasant distraction from the lengthy cutscenes and beat-em-up style combat. Normally, I run into some steeper difficulty spikes with some of the boss fights or grunt gauntlets, but the Switch 2 version of Kiwami 2 provides you with a bevy of weapons, armor, and experience-granting items worthy of a true Japanese mafioso. Of course, you can ignore or embrace these bonuses as you wish. The choose-your-own-adventure style of progression that sees you spending 5 categories of experience points on stats and abilities of your choosing also lets you customize your Yakuza journey, and really, that's one of the best-selling features of these games. Yakuza Kiwami 2 features a compelling cast of new and returning characters, chief among the unfamiliar faces being antagonist Ryuji Goda, who cuts a formidable figure and plays an excellent foil to Gold-Hearted Kiryu. While I enjoyed another romp through the small boroughs of Tokyo and Osaka that feel now like a second digital home, returning to Kiwami 2 felt more in service of Kiwami 3, which will be here before we know it. The Switch 2 port is a serviceable one for sure, especially when considered against the PlayStation 4 version, and there isn't a major sacrifice made to run around these punk-filled streets on the go. If you're becoming a Yakuza collector or have never experienced the second game in the series, there may not be a better time.
This video was made possible by our generous supporters on Patreon. Check out patreon.com/NWR for all the details.